Welcome back to another episode of the Sister Talk podcast. I'm your host, Gold Chain D. Y'all already know I'm just a sister who has a lot to talk about. And from week to week, y'all know I got more and more things that I want to talk about. So before I get started today, I want to tell y'all, like I always tell y'all, if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you click the subscription link at the bottom of this video. Make that subscribe button turn red to make sure you help me on my goal to 200 subscribers on my channel. Also, make sure you click the bell notification symbol to be notified every time I drop a new episode. So what's been going on this week with your sister? I'll start by saying not as eventful as last week. Last week I poured my heart, my soul out to y'all and gave y'all a transparency moment and let y'all know what was really going on in my love life or lack thereof. Poured my heart out this week. Listen, I'm living stress free. I'm living F-boy free. I'm living free. Just in general, this week, I've been just tapped in, tuned in, to what this next phase of my life looks like. I'm calling it the second leg of this transition phase of my life, because y'all been tuned in, so y'all know what's going on. So right now it's time for me to start putting some action in certain areas and starting to figure out what path I'm going down at this point. I took a lot of time to really reflect and think about what it is that I want to do in this next season of my life. And I just want to make sure that whatever I'm doing is inside of God's will. Because I know that ultimately this time that I've had to, work on myself, work on my business, refresh and reset. And that's what I'm really calling this, a reset year. And there's nothing wrong with taking some time to reset. But all I know is that whatever this next season is for my life, I wanted to be within inside of God's will for my life, because I know that him allowing me this time to figure it out and have all my needs be met during that time, which a lot of people can't say that they get. I know that it's for a reason, and I would hate to walk down a path that is not for me, knowing that God set aside this special time for me in order for me to figure it out. So this next phase of my life, I just want whatever is inside of God's will. I'm getting very close to finishing film school, Okay, I've been going at my own pace. I talked about it on a few other episodes in the past, but your girl has shot and edited The Only, which is my short film that will be coming out very soon. So make sure when you see me post about it, make sure you share with a friend, make sure you like a post. Now, I know it's going to be a surprise because y'all used to me, doing a 45-minute short film. This one is an actual, legitimate short film. It's a 5-minute film, 6 minutes, almost 6 minutes. But I think that it's a powerful message in 6 minutes that needs to be told to the world. So that was my final project. It's called The Only. So all I got to do now is hit the submit button for my project. And I'm pretty much done. I can request my certificate at this point. So shout out to me for almost being done with school. Now that we got that out of the way, it's time to spill the tea. Okay? Listen, get your pinkies up, okay? Now, don't judge me, y'all. Don't judge me. I wanted to spill the tea on this first thing because a plethora of thoughts went through my mind when I came across this piece of tea that I'm about to spill on y'all. Now, all right, so y'all know I frequent TikTok. Y'all know pretty much everything that I find is because of something I read, saw, or heard on TikTok. This is no different. I came across a page on TikTok dedicated to an animal in Australia who gained popularity. His name is Neil. Neil the Seal, okay? Neil the Seal is a local celebrity in Australia. He is a 3-year-old elephant seal. Now, the reason why Neil has garnered so much attention is because every season, every molting season, he comes to shore and you can basically walk down any street, drive down any street. You could really just be walking outside of your front door and Neil could just literally just be laying right out your front door. Like he literally could be laying right behind your car and you can't even back out to get to work and you have to call and say, hey boss, Neil was behind my car. It has happened. So Neil has grown a lot of popularity just because he's a seal that loves to just be around people. Apparently, he grew up in Tasmania, Australia. He's over 600 pounds currently, and he has amassed over 18,000 followers on Instagram. Now, the reason why I want to talk about Neil is because not only was it just so crazy to me that a seal just be chilling on land. However, when I watched this seal, you can see him flopping and I ain't gonna do too much, but you can see him flopping and just moving around, navigating land, like it's no big problem. And the one thought that came to my mind when I was watching this, I was like, yo, first of all, this is creepy as hell. Like seals are like, what do they call them? The dogs of the ocean. And I used to think seals were cute. And in some regard, they are. But I'm going to tell y'all what scarred me for a lifetime. Because now I can't unsee it. So I want to say it had to be at the beginning of this year. It was a nice little bit ago. My stepmother and I sat down to have a movie night. And somehow we get to talking about this movie called Tusk because TikTok put me on. And so she's like, oh, well, let's go ahead and turn it on. Let's see what it's about. If you've never seen that movie Tusk, I hate to be the person who scars you as well. Because the movie is freaky as hell. When you sit down and watch that movie, it's gonna make you think like, oh my God, like one, whose crazy mind came up with this concept? And then after you see Neil the Seal, you could be thinking like, damn, like, is it real? Because Neil, listen, I don't mean no damn harm. I can't show y'all. I don't even know if I can show y'all the picture of and honestly, I think now that I'm saying it, I think on Tusk, it was actually a walrus, not a seal. However, same thing, okay? Same thing. When you look at Neil and you look at this thing, that you just gonna be like, just imagine coming out your house and seeing a big old seal just right there. Would scare the crap out of me. Adds to the reasons, 1,000,001 reasons why Australia is not on my list of places to go. They got too many different exotic species. They got too many tarantulas, too many snakes. They just got too many creatures that I don't want to encounter. A kangaroo being one of them. Okay? Now, listen. I just had to give y'all that little spill on Neil because it just blew my mind that this still just be chilling. Now, on to more spill the tea topics. So, I believe we talked about one of these people last season, and reason why this person came up last season was because of his marriage or his past marriage to a adult film star. And if you can't guess it just based off of that, we talking about Eddie Winslow, okay? Mr. Darius McCrary, okay? We talked about him because he told us a couple months ago that he was the real superhead. But that's not why we talk about Mr. Darius McCrary today. We talk about Mr. Darius McCrary today because he's been seen all up in the streets with Sydney Starr. Now, those of you who do not know Sydney Starr is a transgender woman who is a reality TV star, most known for Love and Hip Hop, her appearances on Baddies, and several other reality TV shows. Now, the reason why I want to talk about her is because, like I said, she was seen all and about with Mr. Eddie Winslow. All on the podcast, all booed up, all kissed up, looking real cozy, okay? And they recently had went on an interview. I want to say, what is that man's name? I want to say it was a No Jumper podcast. They went on there and they're talking to the guy that does the interviews or whatever. And Sydney's like, oh, because I don't gotta no more. Eddie Winslow, that Family Matters money paid for me to get my removal surgery. And Eddie Winslow just all like, like all smitten on the side. But literally a week later, now we see Sydney Starr booed up with Brashear Gray. Now, Brashear Gray is Hakeem from Empire. Now, we already know it's been several things said about Brashear. So, I mean, are we surprised that he's booed up with Sydney Starr? I can tell you personally that I am not. Now, the reason being is because, we've heard the rumors, allegedly, the whole situation of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett or whoever turning this boy out or whatever. Who knows? Hey, only they know the true story. But then, in lieu of all the other situations going on with Diddy, he's also being referenced as someone who has something to do with some of the freak offs. Okay? But no, that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about the fact that Brashear Gray and Sydney Starr have been booed up. Now, the crazy thing to me is, like I said, Sydney Starr and Eddie Winslow was all over the place about a week ago. But according to sources, they're saying that Sydney Starr basically partnered up with Eddie Winslow in order to promote her OnlyFans page. Now, to do so, she posted a video of Darius grinding and kissing on her, and she added the caption, "Y'all want to see what happens next with me and Eddie Winslow? Subscribe to my OnlyFans right now." A lot of people are not, like I said, a lot of people aren't surprised because people like Eddie Winslow been freaky, okay? Like I said, he was married to Superhead. He told us that he was the real Superhead. So I can only imagine what was going on in their bedroom. Now, jump to 2 weeks later. Now, Sydney is in a video with Brashear Gray. The caption of the video said, "Oop, move over, Eddie Winslow. I got a new boo in town. Betty get Empire. Hey, Hakeem, they say family doesn't matter anymore, child. It's all about building an empire." And in the video, you see Brashear say, "Okay, Darius, I'm sorry." And then he also says, "I'm sorry, bro. She's so good." Listen, I don't even know what to take of this situation because it's all too much. It's all too much. I just feel as though when Brashear Gray came on the scene, he came, like I said, his popular role was Hakeem on Empire. He played in the Honey. Was that Honey? He played in a movie with Tiana Taylor. I feel like that was Honey. That was one of the like newer Honeys or whatever. But he played in a movie with Tiana Taylor where they were dancing and everything. And like he just had a nice momentum as far as his career goes. And everybody thought that he was going to be around and popping for a nice little minute. But as we got to see over the pandemic, Homeboy started going crazy. Like he started losing his daggone mind. And I believe at the time he was either dating a female or he was married to a female. And there were allegations that he had put his hands on this woman and started wigging out. And ever since then, he just like when we say black don't crack, he on the list of the black that cracked. Because this man, it just seemed like he went from here in our minds to now it's just like, oh my God, what is he going to do next? And I'm not saying anything is wrong with him dealing with Sydney Starr because at the end of the day, your preference is your preference. If you like it, I love it. It has nothing to do with me what's going on in your bedroom. But I just thought it was so crazy because not because they were dealing with each other, more so because I'm being messy because I'm trying to figure out why you kick Eddie Winslow to the curb like that after he paid for your surgery. Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, where we do that at? So you've been using this man so you can get your bottom surgery, and then now you on to the next. Okay. Listen, game recognized game. Let me know in the chat. Is it crazy? Do you believe that this is another scheme for Sydney Star to, push herself in the media, to sell her OnlyFans content? Or do you think they really rocking with each other like that? And if they not rocking with each other like that, who you think gonna be the person that's gonna pop up with her next week? Let me know in the chat. Now, on to more spill the tea, okay? Listen, I hope your pinky's still up, okay? This one right here surprised me. Now, the reason why this surprised me is because of how I found this information. I'm one of those people that, like, I could be watching something far left and they'll say something and I'm like, and I'll go right to Google and I'll type it in. I'm like, okay, let me figure out what they talking about, because that was a little gem. And if you wasn't paying attention, you wouldn't have caught it. So I was sitting down watching like a TMZ special where they were talking about some of the most famous like celebrity videos that got leaked over the years or whatever. And so I'm watching it and they get to talking about a story that includes Michael Richards, and Michael Richards is Kramer from Seinfeld. And so this account, like, this took place back in, like, I don't know, 22, I was about to say 20, Lord have mercy. This took place back in 2005, 2006 time. And I personally hadn't heard about it because obviously, like I keep saying, some of these things weren't on our radar then because we wasn't checking for Kramer. We was too damn young to be checking for Kramer. Like, we know who Kramer is because we got siblings or grandparents or whoever who was sitting around watching Seinfeld, but we don't know who the heck Kramer is outside of that. But anyway, so Michael Richards, he was on stage and he got booed because of a racist rant that he went on, and it pretty much canceled his whole career. Now, in the process of TMZ, talking about this specific video, I'm tapped in, I'm tuned in, I'm listening. They was like, yeah, because this is different, because this different from the situation that happened with Morgan Wallen. I say, hold up, Morgan Wallen. That's a name that sounds familiar in 2024. For those of you who do not know who Morgan Wallen is a country singer. And he's now making waves, big waves, in the hip hop industry. Or hip hop genre, I should say. Now, the reason why I had to look this up, because I'm like, did they just say that Morgan Wallen got caught up in a situation where he went on a racist rant too? Well, I'm about to find out. I go to search it up. Back in 2021, Morgan Wallen, there was a video that was captured by one of his neighbors that lived across the street from him. Against his knowledge, he had no idea that he was being filmed. So the video starts where him and his friends, they pull up, they get out the car. You could tell they're under the influence. You could tell they're inebriated. They're drunk off their behinds, stumbling, slurring words or whatever, but they were loud like most drunk people are. So in this video, you see him say something to one of his friends that's still in the car or whatever. And the line that pretty much got this man canceled in 2021 was, take care of this money and nigga. Listen, I'm trying to keep it PG-13 for the kiddos, but take care of this nigga, okay? That's what he said in the video. And personally, from my perspective, I feel as though I always toe the line when it comes to the N-word. The reason being is because it's all in the culture, it's all in the music, it's everywhere. So, like, since we've disarmed this word, nigga, and obviously the word nigger is still derogatory, like, I toe the line with it because I'm just like, when he said it, I didn't personally feel like he was saying nigger. I personally felt like he was saying nigga. Like, you can tell that that's a part of his speech. Like, he probably be carrying on with his homeboys, calling his homeboys niggas all the time. That's just what I gathered. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it wrong. I don't know. Y'all be the judge of it. That's the reason why I want to bring it up, is because now Morgan Wallen, for those who know, who really know, Morgan Wallen is popping right now. Like I said, he first became popping in the hip hop world when he did a collab with Lil Durk. He has also done a collab with Drake and Post Malone. And one of my favorites, Moneybagg Yo. Listen, the song that I love, this is my song. Whiskey, whiskey, won't you go away? Come again some other day. Come in on time to play, cause I'm tired of it, tired of it. I don't wanna wonder where she been, where she been. Listen, that is my jam, okay? They played that at my cousin's wedding this past weekend, and I was, cousin, hey, that's my jam. So I can't say nothing bad about it. But also, one of my other songs is "Wasted on You." All right, I ain't gonna sing no more of that. But my idea is that he has been making hits on hits on hits on hits lately. Now, when this situation happened back in 2021, he did make it his business. He made it his business to meet with influential Black people so that he can understand why that word, the use of that word, is so powerful, and also just, I guess, kind of play his gratitude and, you know, show people that he really didn't mean it in that way. And so he came out with a statement where he says, there's no excuse. I've never made an excuse. I will never make an excuse. And he told them, he said, I've talked a lot about people, heard stories and things that I would have never thought about because I wasn't the one going through it. And I think for me, in my heart, I was never that guy that people were portraying me to be. So there was a little bit of me that was like, damn, I'm kind of actually mad about this a bit, because I know I shouldn't have said this, but I'm really not that guy. I put myself in such a shit spot, you know? Like, you really messed up here, guy. If I was that guy, then I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have apologized. I wouldn't have done any of that. If I really was that guy that people were saying about me. And he's referenced in this, where he spoke with several leaders in the industry, far as 300 Electric Entertainment Chairman Kevin Laws. He met up with people from Universal Music Group. He met up with BB Winans. So he met up with several influential Black entertainers or music producers or people in that industry, just trying to gain more knowledge. Now, like I said, I personally, I may or may not add the video in here for y'all, or I may just add a link in the bio for y'all to go watch it. But if not, all else fails, type it in on TikTok, it's gonna come up. Like I said, I feel as though he's not that dude. Like, he's not that guy. Like, I don't mean no harm. He got a little seasoning to him. He might have to be added to the list of vanilla babies, okay? Because I don't know, it's something on him that I can't shake for real. People at this point are just like, okay, he's living with this black cloud over his head, but I think it's about time that we let it go. Now, that's where you all come in. That's my question to y'all, because we talk a lot about the culture. We talk a lot about culture vultures. We talk about people who look to come in and use our culture. And so I personally do not feel like that's what Morgan is trying to do. But I do think it's amazing that he's able to have such success in rap, despite the situation. And the reason being, I feel as though, is because a lot of Black people probably don't know. A lot of Black people probably don't know, like, that this happened. So, I don't know. Let me know in the chat. Do you feel like we should give Morgan Wallen a pass for using that word? A one-time only pass. Not saying he could just walk around saying whatever the heck he want to say, but do we give him a pass? Or do we hold him responsible forever? Let me know in the chat. Because I feel like Morgan, listen, he been killing the game. I feel as though ever since Beyonce came out with her country music album, country music has been spilling back over into black culture. And I do love the fact because the only time before Morgan, we've only ever get to see Nelly partner up with Tim McGraw on Over and Over Again. And Nelly actually has collaborated with a few country music people, but we never really got to see it before then. And so I love to see it when we can get the best of both worlds and it not seem like it's forced, like it flows well. And I feel like both sides can really appreciate it. So let me know in the chat because I'm gonna be hurt if y'all tell me we gotta cancel Morgan Wallen because of what he said back in 2021. Let me know in the chat. Now, this right here, right, is a did you know moment. We haven't had a did you know moment in a very, very long time. The last thing I asked y'all, did y'all know, was the lyrics to what is that day one song? Because we was Murder She Wrote. Listen. When you get older, you gotta take yourself back to a memory. Look, Murder She Wrote. We was talking about the lyrics on that song, and did y'all know that's what that song meant? Was it was talking about abortion? Now, for this did you know moment, this blew my mind. And like I said, I'm one of those people that, like, especially because I like a lot of older TV shows. I do watch new stuff, but I'm one of those people, like, I watch a lot of the same stuff over and over and over again. I just cycle it out over the years. So recently I was just watching the Bernie Mac show, and this particular person pops up, and I'm looking, I'm like, yo, I always thought this person looked like somebody else that's famous. And I was like, wait, are they brothers? I went down a whole rabbit hole. Did you know that Blair Underwood, bing, and Dawn Franklin, bing, are not the same person, number one? Because I grew up many years thinking that they were the same person. Then when I realized that they weren't the same person, I'm like, okay, well, they gotta be brothers because surely they look alike. No, they're not even related. And when I looked this up, I thought it was so funny because somebody literally was on Reddit like, the dude that's not Blair Underwood. Like, that's all I called him for all these years, the dude that's not Blair Underwood. And I just thought that was so funny. But the crazy thing about it is, like, we gotta kind of put respect on both of their names because both of them, they are recognizable people. Even though they look the same, you might have thought they was one or the other, but they have a long catalog. And so Blair Underwood, a lot of you most popularly know him probably from Set It Off. And that's because of the role that he played in Set It Off, where he was the love interest of Jada Pinkett. And he was the bank manager. Then you also probably know him from Malibu's Most Wanted. Because he was the black politician that was working with the guy, whatever. Like, a lot of roles, and several other things, but those are the most recognizable. And then for Dawn Franklin, he also is relevant in so many different projects that you all can be familiar with. He was in Insecure. He was also in a lot of the NCISs, the CISs, he was in the Bernie Mac show, like I said. He was most popularly known for his role in Girlfriends as Stan. That was the one that Maya was dating, if you know, you know. He was also in Living Single and Moesha. And so I think, honestly, like, both of these guys, they were easy to mix up because both of them were very popular in the 90s. So I don't know. Let me know in the chat. Am I crazy? Like, do these two not look alike? And, like, am I the only person? Well, I'm not going to say I thought they were the same person because I didn't think they were the same person because I know who Blair Underwood is. But am I crazy for thinking that they were related at the very least? Let me know in the chat. Now, it's time. It's time. It's time. All right. It's time to give someone their props. Now, the person I would like to give props to this week. The reason why I would love to give this person props, because this person came like out of far left. Like I wasn't even really like, this person has not been very in the public spotlight lately. He has not been making his rounds in Hollywood like he used to. But the reason why I wanted to give this person their props is because I was watching an interview where this person's sibling was talking about them, and I learned a lot about this person that I really didn't even know. And I feel like we need to put some respect on their name. Now, the person that I would like to give props to is our guy. You guessed it. Cuba Gooding Jr. Now, for those of you who do not know who Cuba Gooding Jr. is, let's go down his track list. This man has a huge catalog. Most popularly known for his involvement in Boys in the Hood, Gladiator, Losing Isaiah, Jerry Maguire, Snow Dogs, Rat Race, Boat Trip, Fighting Temptations, Radio, Norbit, Daddy Day Camp. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. Like, and I have to apologize because he did actually come up with a film this year in 2024 called Firing Squad. So I wasn't too familiar, and he had something that came out in 2023. So it looks like he's still working. Now, the reason why I wanted to give this person their props is because I was watching an interview oh my god, on the blue couch with Omar Gooding. Omar Gooding is his brother, for those of you that don't know. And Omar Gooding is Sweet Pea from Baby Boy. And we talked about Baby Boy a couple episodes ago. So Omar Gooding was on the blue couch. He was doing an interview. Of course, they asked him several questions about his brother because obviously his brother is who his brother is. And so he gets to talking about, his brother's catalog and things of that nature. And one of the things that he said was that we got to put some respect on his brother because his brother is one of like very few Black actors who have an Academy Award. Now, for those of you who do not know, Academy Award is like the tippity at the top, okay? It's not to be taken lightly. When I was doing my research, because, my wheels just be turning. When I was doing my research, I was like, okay, for him to say that, I'm very curious how many Black actors actually have won an Oscar. Now, from a very brief list, it's not many of them. About 23 people that are Black won an Oscar award. Now, mind you, the Oscars were started in like 1926. And I was like, well, I'm curious. If there are only 23 Black people who have won this award, right? And Cuba won his in like 1997. How many in total, like, Oscars have they given out? And so to give y'all a ratio, out of 3,000, because 3,000 is the number of Oscars that they have given out since 1920s. Out of 3,000, 23 of them are Black. Now, it's a little leeway in there. That number is not 100% solid, considering the fact that Walt Disney alone has 26 Oscars. Okay? That's just one person. So, and most of these Black actors only have maybe one or two. They don't have a lot, not 26. And so it really made me put it in perspective and was like, you know what? This is a high honor because he's sitting on this list with Denzel Washington, Lupita Nyong'o, Viola Davis, Louis Gossett, God rest his soul, Whoopi Goldberg, Halle Berry, and Jennifer Hudson. Jennifer Hudson was actually the youngest Black person and the youngest person, I believe, in general to win such award. Forrest Whitaker, Morgan Freeman, Sidney Poitier. He's on this list with some heavy hitters. Now, the reason why I said we got to put some respect on him is because I know I'm not the only person who has heard somebody close to them talk about how he's corny and they can't take him seriously and all these different things that they've said about Cuba. But I feel as though no matter what you want to say about the situation, you got to put some respect on him. He's one of the onlys, okay? One of the onlys to get this type of award. And another thing that his brother talked about on the podcast was just about first of all, he tells this story about radio. Now, mind you, he didn't get the Oscar award for radio. He got the Oscar award for Jerry Maguire as a best supporting actor in that film. Now, I'm sorry, I'm guilty. I have not seen that film. It's a little bit before my time, but I am intrigued to go see it now that I know that this is what he won the award for because I'm curious to, see what the hype is about. So he didn't win it for radio, which also was a great film. And personally, if I had to nominate him for an Oscar for a film, my favorite Cuba Gooding Jr. movie is Men of Honor. He did such a great job in Men of Honor. When I tell you, like, that movie is two movies that like touch my soul. Men of Honor and oh my god, why did it just leave my daggone brain? Men of Honor and Antoine Fisher. Those are two films that I think were amazing films. But nonetheless, that's the movie that I would have personally nominated him for. But there's also another, like, I loved him in Fighting Temptations. I mean, he was a little bit more cornier in that. But his brother goes on to talk about how the premiere was when him, like, Cuba, Omar, and then they have a sister and their mother went to the premiere for radio. And they talked about how they were just sitting there geeking. They were sitting there geeking because this is their brother who obviously doesn't have special needs or whatever, playing a role that's special needs, and they couldn't take him seriously. And I just thought that was so crazy because I'm just like, it really shows you that they're people like we are people. Like, literally, I can see me and my siblings probably cracking up over the same type of situation, just us as regular people. So it didn't surprise me when he said that that's what they were going, they were cracking up over that. But he says furthermore, like, he talked to his brother after the fact about that film and why he did it and things of that nature. And basically, like, during that conversation, he was telling him, like, look, nigga, not specifically to radio, but he made a comment about, like, Snow Dogs, because Snow Dogs was a very random movie. And he made a comment and said, like, look, I gotta make money. So at the end of the day, while y'all calling this man corny, the moral of the story is he's laughing his ass to the bank with an Oscar in on his mantle. So put some respect on him. Look, give him his flowers. What I would like to talk to you all about, and this is another spill the tea type of conversation. The reason why I want to spill the tea on this is because I just personally want y'all opinion on this. What's his name? So Daniel Kaluuya, and not me saying what's the name like I know him, but Daniel Kaluuya. I don't know how you pronounce his last name, but I'm gonna say Kaluuya. And if you don't know who he is the man that played in Get Out. Daniel Kaluuya was basically awarded or honored with a statue in central London, which is his hometown. And the statue was decided upon by the fans. There is a park or trail in Leicester Square called Scenes in the Square, where it currently houses statues from those of Harry Potter, Batman, Wonder Woman, Mary Poppins, and Gene Kelly. They also have added Game of Thrones, Clifford the Big Red Dog, Indiana Jones, and others of the similar. And They unveiled this statue. Like I said, it was a fan vote that decided that they wanted to honor this man and his involvement in Get Out. And so the statue that is on this trail is of him when he was falling into the sunken place. Okay. On the film.
What's going on?
Now, the reason why I wanted to ask your opinion on this is because when I first saw it, like when I first saw the video, it was I just feel like black people, we be here sometimes. Like, cause I just looked at this man and I'm just thinking to myself, while he's sitting over top of this thing, he got his hand in his pocket, he looking down. And I just imagine he looking at the statue like, you gotta be shitting me. You gotta be shitting me, okay? I can't believe they really made a statue of my black ass falling into a hole. Because I will say this, the movie was great. I believe that that was the first of many of that kind to come after. It attacked a social issue in a way that we had never seen it done before. And so it's absolutely legendary. So I understand the wanting to pay homage to the character. But I just don't know if they made the mark with this one. Like, I mean, Daniel Kaluuya, since he's been on the scene, because that was his breakout role that we know him from. He has played in Black Panther. He has also played in Queen and Slim, which is my favorite. He's played in the Black Messiah. Like, he's played in so many different roles. Like, I just don't know how I feel. And like, I will say 100% before I read and did my research, I was like, nah, it's a no for me, dog. Like, it's a no. But when I read it and I saw like the trail that is like actually a part of, and it's kind of like a mythical creature, fictional creature type situation, it kind of made me, I guess, feel a little bit better about it. Cause I'm like, okay, it's like a stamping my moment in time type of situation. Whereas it's not like, okay, they're dedicating a library to me and I'm falling in the dark sunken place. So let me know your thoughts in the chat. How do we feel about this statue? Like, did they miss the mark? Do you think that, like, even though this man says that he was appreciative of it and all these different things, do you think that it was really given that on the video? Like, do you think that he was really happy to see him fall in a sunken place and know that this is one of the things that he'll be remembered for the rest of his life? I don't know. Let me know in the chat. Now, all right. I'm sorry. I just want to keep singing for y'all. I don't know why. Like, I just want to keep singing for y'all. Like, I'm kind of like, in a little sing type of mood. But it's time for a conspiracy talk. Okay. So I almost didn't have a conspiracy this week. I almost didn't because, sometimes it's hard to find a good conspiracy. Now, this one kind of sort of just found me for real. But we talked, I want to say, maybe at the beginning of this year. Yeah, maybe the beginning of this year or the end of last year, we talked about a conspiracy that involves Jamie Foxx. And we talked a lot about, like, because we know that he fell ill last year, just, sporadically out of nowhere and just kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. Like, nobody knew what happened to him. Nobody knew if he was okay. Nothing. Like, I mean, he just completely, like, vanished. Like, he didn't even finish recording the movie that he was recording at that time. And so we talked a lot about Jamie Foxx because we specifically called him a clone, said it's time to tune up, and get him another clone. The conspiracy in 2024 is this. Now, we know that Jamie Foxx And Diddy has been very close friends in the industry for many, many, many years. We know that Jamie Foxx and Diddy have attended several Diddy parties together. We know, we've heard it over the years. We've heard that they were the best of friends. Okay? But the conspiracy is that Diddy has something to do with Jamie Foxx being hospitalized. Now, the reason why this conspiracy has surfaced at this point is because of the main reason. A lot of people are like, okay, this nigga Diddy is in jail, and then now all of a sudden Jamie Foxx then came out of the woodwork. Interesting. Then there are accounts from, different people in the industry, like connected to people in the industry, who were invited to his live taping of his Netflix comedy special that he's supposed to be coming out with. This special was shot over a 3-day period, and the person who commented on what was said during this filming attended the first and the third taping of this special. Now, the person who detailed this says that in a joke, Jamie Foxx said, Diddy did something to me, and I'm the one who called the feds on him. And when he said it, because a lot of people are like, okay, how do you know he wasn't being funny? How do you know he wasn't joking? But when he said it, the guy was like, I'm also a comedian. I'm pretty good with, punchlines and when you're serious and things of that nature. And it was giving this man was serious. Now, furthermore, they're saying that before Jamie came out in this special allegedly and said this, because we don't know for certain, because people's phones and things of that nature were confiscated until the filming was over. So we won't have any side footage that got shot at this, and we don't even know that this footage is even going to actually make it to the Netflix special. We don't know. There are some people saying they have no account of him saying he called the FBI. So there's discrepancy. Listen, there's discrepancy in the account of what was actually said. But people know that he did talk about Diddy quite a bit. But before he got on stage and felt comfortable enough to say this in front of a crowd, apparently it was an industry rumor going around of the sort. And they were basically saying that Jamie was running around telling people whatever he was telling people about Diddy, and they told him that he needed to shut up, and he didn't, and therefore he was given a pill that knocked his ass up out of this world, allegedly. I don't know. The story that Jamie Foxx tells is because it was a video that surfaced on his social media pages maybe a few months ago now. But he's standing around in a crowd of people and he's telling them like, oh, he was on set or whatever. He had a headache. He asked somebody for some Advil. And then the next thing that he was passed out and woke up 20 days later. I don't know. But what I will say is Hollywood is getting Holly weird, okay? I don't put nothing past nobody at this point in life, especially in Hollywood. Because the things that we've been hearing about lately, the things that we've been kind of seeing on TV and being like, man, that might be real. Listen, if Diddy did it, he did it. He did it. And, it makes sense. It makes sense. If Diddy's going to take a fall, because we got to think about how long Diddy has been investigated under, for federal charges. And I don't know. I didn't do my research enough to know if the timelines coincide. The time where Jamie got sick and Diddy started being investigated, or, that started coming out. I don't know if those two things coincide with each other. But if it does, it makes a lot of sense. who better to, get out the way than your best friend, your BFF? Because chances are his behind knows everything. He knows more than a little bit. And he probably got footage of his own that can, add to the flame. Fuel the flame a little bit more. So to me, I don't know. Listen, I'm intrigued now. I'm going to do my research. Because I'm curious myself now that I'm thinking about this out loud. I'm curious to know if Jamie got sick around the same time that Diddy got investigated by the FBI when his investigation became public. I'm very curious to know. I'll let y'all know. I'll keep y'all posted on that. But to me, right now, it's just a conspiracy theory. It's just a conspiracy theory. I don't know. Is it a conspiracy or not? Do you think that Diddy had something to do with Jamie Foxx's untimely hospitalization? Personally, I do feel as though he probably could have something to do with it. It makes a lot of sense. Y'all let me know in the chat, conspiracy or not. Well, that's the end of our episode tonight. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Sistah Talk podcast. I'm your host, Gold Chain Diva, and if you would like to follow me on social media, you can follow me at goldchain__diva, and I will follow you back. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you share this video with a friend or a family member, and make sure, most importantly, you make sure you're subscribed to this channel so that you get notifications every time a new episode drops. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great night.